So my name's Hannah, and with me I have my audience, my husband Manny, and my friend Crystal, who's also an avid book reader. And today I'm going to be talking about the genre everyone reads but nobody respects. So, as an avid reader, I have enjoyed books from all different genres of fiction. Mystery books, fantasy books, and sci fi books all teach us important lessons about life. Mystery books give us a puzzle to solve and teaches us to critically think. Fantasy books teach us lessons of strength and valor, and sci-fi books and dystopian books show us what could happen if somebody were to come into the wrong kind of power. But there's one subgenre of fiction that is highly criticized, which is romance. So, romance books teach us the importance of self-love. Love is at the center of the plot. We follow along with our main characters on their emotional journeys to find happiness and connection, and we endure their struggles with them, and our emotional intelligence grows alongside our main characters. The National Center for Writing in the UK describes romance books as a comforting experience, where love always wins and there's almost always a happily ever after. And what sets it apart from other genres of fiction is that it is written by women, about women, and for women. These stories are centered around female main characters. And like other works that are centered around women, it faces unfair criticisms that other genres don't. Although the romance genre is described as the undisputed leader in fiction on bestseller lists, there is a long-standing stigma that romance books are trashy. Both authors and readers of romance are made to feel ashamed or like their favorite genre has to be a guilty pleasure. The entire genre is disregarded as easy reads, and as Lauren Cameron points out in her article about the romance publishing industry, by referring to romance books as easy reads, it implies that the readers of the genre are not intelligent. And the shame is made even worse if the romance books in question are erotic novels. And books characterized as erotica contain more sexual content than other romance books. Most romance books do contain at least some degree of sexual content, but almost all romance books and erotica books contain other things aside from just the sexual chapters. They contain stories of war and politics and feminine strength and independence. But even if a book was just purely erotica, why does it matter? Why would that completely invalidate the book? Erotic literature provides an outlet for women to explore their sexual desires, and sex is a universally human experience. These books can make women feel empowered about sex rather than just embarrassed. But still, the community regards erotic novels or any romance book that has sexual chapters as just smut books. Recently, there was a video on TikTok by a male member of the book talk community where he challenged other readers to walk into a bookstore, walk into the literary fiction section, and pick up any book that is not romantasy or romance. Now, with women being the primary readers of romance, this, kind of didn't settle very well with me, and it kind of made me think about why men have such a problem with people who read romance books. And since romance readers are primarily women, the issue seems painfully obvious. Romance books are judged so harshly compared to other genres of fiction because they are inherently feminine. Muna Sayed, in her article Bad Romance, points out that genres such as mystery and nonfiction are commonly perceived as masculine and thus taken seriously. Romance, however, is perceived as feminine and thus its validity is questioned. So, like so many other things that are centered around women, misogyny plays the biggest role in why there's such a stigma against romance novels. In an interview with several members of different Facebook groups that were dedicated to reading romance, 48% of the all-female participants admitted to receiving negative reactions when they told people that they read romance. Several women who were interviewed even went on to say that it was their own husbands who reacted so negatively to them enjoying romance because they felt threatened by the main characters and believed their wives would not be able to differentiate fiction from reality, which goes back to Lauren Cameron's point that people perceive romance readers, who are primarily women, as less intelligent than non-romance readers. Politician and former author Stacey Abrams was laughed at by Stephen Colbert when he read excerpts from one of her erotic novels on his show. She was on the show to talk about a political book that she had written, and instead he subjected her to reading erotic chapters out of her older romance novels. And he asked if her political advocacy book had any of that in there, referring to the erotic scenes of her romance novels, saying that if it did, he would understand why the political book would be a bestseller. So this was just an example of a man blatantly mocking a female author about her romance novels while she was there to talk about her political book, and that just kind of goes to show how men perceive romance to be kind of a joke. But if romance is still the bestseller, how can we change the stigma that's around it? Well, there's online communities such as Book Talk, Bookstagram, dedicated Facebook groups that give romance readers an outlet to share their love and passion for these novels without feeling so harshly judged by others. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of romance readers feel that their choice of novel is a guilty pleasure, and they're embarrassed to talk about it. But these communities provide them a space to gather with people who also like the genre and are not going to judge them for reading their favorite books. And romance bookstores provide another safe space for both romance readers and romance authors who are often turned down by independent booksellers to sell their novels because they don't really prioritize romance. So while it will never be easy to fully dismantle the long-standing misogynistic views of the romance genre, having these safe spaces to discuss the work helps readers overcome the feeling of having to hide what they enjoy. The patriarchal stigma against women-created content will always exist. It's a much bigger problem that no matter how hard we try to overcome, it's probably going to take many, many, many years for that to ever fully go away, if ever. So the best thing that we can do as lovers of romance is continue to unashamedly talk about our favorite books and support our favorite authors. The genre should be respected as any other genre of fiction and judged fairly based on how good the book actually is, not immediately dismissed by the bias against romance novels. And at the end of the day, I hope that people come to respect fans and authors of the genre instead of rolling their eyes and laughing. I have to believe that there is a happily ever after for my favorite genre of book. Thank you.